Ever quit a job and made sure nobody else wanted it after you? A while ago, I worked at this state-owned company, the kind of place you can only get into after passing a public selection process. I was in the very first group of hires for a new department, and there were supposed to be several more groups joining after us. The company had a bunch of open roles to fill, and it was a big deal to get in. Now, when we started, people in my specialty had internal interviews to figure out which area we'd be assigned to. It wasn't just them picking us, we got to ask questions too. I asked about flexibility because I often had to travel for exams and job selections out of town. The manager I interviewed with told me it wouldn't be a problem. They said as long as I communicated and had the hours to cover it, I could take a day off or even work remotely. Sounds fair, right? So I joined. Not long after, my manager went on vacation and a temporary replacement took over. That's when things started to go sideways. I had an important exam scheduled out of town. I asked if I could use my overtime hours to take Monday off for travel, then work remotely from the hotel on Tuesday. I couldn't get a flight that would bring me back on time anyway, so remote work was the only option. Plus, Tuesdays were usually my work from home day, but they had assigned me to attend an online class that day instead. So technically, I wasn't even getting a real remote work day that week. I explained all this. The sub-manager said she needed to check with my real manager, the one on vacation. Later, I was told I couldn't use my overtime hours that way. Supposedly, there was some obscure internal document saying you could only use overtime hours for time off during holiday seasons, something no one ever mentioned before, so I'd lose a day's pay if I went. Fine, whatever. Then, the night before my exam, at 10 p.m., I get a message from my manager, who's supposed to be sipping cocktails on vacation. She tells me I also can't change my work from home day. Apparently, travel for an important exam wasn't extraordinary enough, and I should have asked weeks in advance. Again, none of this was ever mentioned in my onboarding or interview. I pushed back, reminding her of what she said during our interview. Her response? She threatened to give me a bad review for missing 2 days, and hinted that I might get fired, or at the very least, never get promoted. I barely slept that night. I had to perform well on this exam to secure a better job, and now I was stressing about my current one falling apart too. Luckily, I passed. Not just passed, I did well enough to get offered a way better role, but still, I probably could have done even better if I hadn't been up all night worrying about being fired. Fast forward a few days, she returns from vacation, and I hand in my resignation. Told her I got the new job. She gave me a fake smile and ran straight to HR, begging them to fill my spot from the next hiring batch. Here's the catch though, almost nobody wants the job. The pay sucks compared to the qualifications needed, and I'm not the first person to leave. I'm actually the second person in 2 months to quit, and there are only so many people left on the hiring list. Once they run out, that's it. No more fresh hires unless they open a brand new selection process, and that could take years. Now for the fun part, I told everyone in the upcoming hiring groups exactly what she did to me. Word got around quick. She's already desperate. People are retiring left and right, and she's about to be drowning in work with no one to help her. And the position I just left, still vacant. If she hadn't lied to me about flexibility, or if she had just let me use the time off I earned, I'd probably still be there. I might have even recommended the job to others, but no, she wanted to be petty. So now I'm gone, and nobody's jumping at the chance to work under her. She brought it on herself, and just to show you how hypocritical she is, literally a week later, another coworker asked to switch her remote workday last minute because her dog had an emergency vet appointment. Same day request, no problem at all. Approved instantly. So apparently, getting your dog to the vet qualifies as extraordinary, but me taking an exam for a better job, nope.